I couldn't help but find myself
Me too. I was going to talk about
hoping
this.
they were going to blow it and hoping the Astros would walk it off. And they did. And I felt myself feeling guilty for how happy I was.
Logical. Baseball loving Scott cheers for the Mariners over the Astros every single time. But, buddy, the exact same thing happened to me. And I really do think it was the bitterness still is there from the series loss against them, right? And just like all of a sudden, Robbie Ray's coming out of the bullpen, and I'm like, come on, Alvarez.
I start banging the trash can in my kitchen. I'm like, let's go, buddy.
Buddy, that Houston Astros comeback last night, that was one for the ages. Honestly, like, this doesn't happen in baseball. Walk-off home runs to win a playoff game. You know how many times that has been that has happened in MLB history?
Let me guess. We're talking walk-off home runs in the playoffs. Home run. Okay.
And I'm not talking winning home runs like Jose Bautista in the 7th inning. Like walk-off.
Bottom of the ninth.
Bottom of the ninth.
You're around the bases. There's Gatorade waiting for you. In the history of the game, I would say 35 times.
4.
Ooh, really?
4 times.
That is a lot lower than I expected.
Lenny Dykstra did it in 86 with the Mets. Kirk Gibson did it in 88 in the World Series with the Dodgers. Joe Carter, of course, did it.
The greatest of all time.
93 with the Blue Jays. And then last night, Yordan Alvarez pulled it off for the Houston Astros.
Interesting clump of 3 in a span of like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, right? That 80s and early 90s, they're like, let's get it all out of the way. And then let's not talk about this for a while. Hello and welcome, everybody. This is Adam and Scott, Suck at Betting. This is our pseudo-gambling show, I guess you could say. Obviously, Adam and I, just by the title of our show here, I hope you take it as we are not ones to be going to for your betting advice. However, we do enjoy micro betting from time to time. Never bet more than you can afford to, obviously. We are partnered with BetStamp, which is a fantastic aggregating site for letting you know which betting apps are going to give you the best odds when you place your bets. Okay, it allows you to line shop. And for those of you who don't know what line shopping is, Adam, feel free to step in here.
Line shopping is like you go on holidays, you want a hotel, you want the best price for your hotel, you go to hotels.com. Same thing for gambling. You're going to bet on the Mariners to win the World Series. Line shopping through BetStamp basically gives you the best odds on whatever your choice is going to be. So maybe you're typically going to bet at Bet365, but with BetStamp, you go on, you check it out. They give you the best odds, and you see, over at Bet Rivers, the Mariners have a plus 3,000 payout. So there you go.
And if you are going to sign up for BetStamp, very helpful to the channel here, if you use the code WALKOFF, all one word. Of course, when you sign up with BetStamp, sign up with the affiliate sites, and that makes it really easy for when they do give you the lines on all of these sites. You're already in business. I did want to really quickly talk Scott Service going to Robbie Ray in the 9th inning last night. Runners on first and second for the Astros. Yordan Alvarez coming to the plate, wanting that lefty on lefty matchup. This is what makes playoff baseball so exciting, man.
Yeah, the game plan's out the window. You got to win. You put your guy in the game, right?
Now, hindsight's 2020. But when they did this, were you questioning the move a little? I was a little surprised. I honestly was a little surprised, especially with Matt Boyd doing so well with left-handed hitters this year, and the fact that he was one of their trade acquisitions at the deadline to go out and get him. Interesting choice to go with Robbie Ray.
Let's just from an emotional standpoint, I don't know. Okay, full disclosure, Blue Jays fan. Am I a little bit upset with the Seattle Mariners for what they did in Game 2 of the Wild Card Series? Probably. I spent the weekend talking myself into rooting for the Mariners against the Astros. Nobody likes the Astros. That's established.
I love this.
I tune in. I see earlier in the game, the Mariners are up, 7-1, 7-2 on the Astros.
Yes,
and I'm feeling good. I'm like, wow, the Mariners, maybe they're just a team of destiny. Like, I didn't see them going up 7-0 on Justin Verlander and the Houston Astros.
Nobody did.
Amazing. I'm fully invested. I'm in. Let's go Mariners. Fast forward to the bottom of the ninth. There's 2 out. There's 2 runners on. Astros are down by 2 after clawing their way back into it, and Robbie Ray comes in. Again, former Blue Jay. Maybe that was a factor. I couldn't help but find myself
Me too. I was going to talk about this.
They were going to blow it and hoping the Astros would walk it off. And they did. And I felt myself feeling guilty for how happy I was.
Logical. Baseball-loving Scott cheers for the Mariners over the Astros every single time. But, buddy, the exact same thing happened to me. And I really do think it was the bitterness still is there from the series loss against them, right? And just like all of a sudden Robbie Ray's coming out of the bullpen and I'm like, come on, Alvarez.
I start banging the trash can in my kitchen. I'm like, let's go, buddy.
Isn't playoff baseball fun when you have no emotional ties to it?
It's so much better. Jay should have just missed the playoffs like they've been doing for the most of my life, man.
I can't even, because I didn't care. Technically, I was cheering for the Mariners until the 9th inning, and then I was like, you know what? Go Astros!
Playoff baseball is incredible, though. I love it.
It truly is the best. So let's go down what happened last night. Man, I want to really quickly touch on the Los Angeles Dodgers. There was all the talk over the last couple days that, you know what, maybe the Dodgers are beatable. And the take was they hadn't played important baseball since last October. I mean, truly, look at their record. They have not needed to win a game all season. They ran away with the NL West. They ran away with it. That division was done in June.
They had a 20-game lead on the division since the 22nd day of the season, I'm pretty sure.
Against good teams.
Yeah.
So I was curious to see how this Los Angeles Dodgers team would, if they'd show up. And buddy, cool, calm, collected. That Dodgers bullpen came in with the lead and just shut it down. I mean, it's not like they blew the Padres out of the water, but at no time did you really feel like that game was in danger of being lost.
No, absolutely not.
And after watching it, I found myself thinking maybe the Dodgers are truly the juggernaut we all kind of set them up to be. Last year was weird, right? Atlanta walked in that division series and they took out this behemoth. Or was it the division series? Sorry, maybe it was.
I can't remember. You're putting me on the spot here.
Whatever. Yeah. Either way, the Dodgers being eliminated last year was a little bit of a shock. And of course, when you see that, it's easy to maybe downplay how good this team is in 2022, comparing it with 2021. And you can always say, well, they were supposedly just as good in 2021 and they didn't pull it off. But man, after watching that game one, and I know it's just one game, but the Dodgers are going to be a tough team to take down. Speaking of dominant performances, Garrett Cole, man, I hate to say it, as a Blue Jays fan, obviously we're both hoping that Garrett Cole, it still makes me laugh. Friend of the show, Garth, always posts on Twitter a picture of his thumb smiling, and it just captions it, Garrett Cole.
Okay.
Yeah, they showed up big, man. 4-1 win over Cleveland. At no point did Cleveland. Cleveland had the bases loaded there. I think it was in the fourth, and that's when they were really pressuring him, and he got out of a tight spot. Pitched 6 good innings.
8 strikeouts, 1 walk.
Yeah. Heck of a performance. Do you think, personally, Cleveland can take this Yankees team?
I think they still can.
Like, I really like Cleveland. I like the way they play baseball. They're a fun team to watch. They hit the ball all over the field. They're not really power-driven, although they do have some guys who can knock it in when the chips are down.
They've got Shane Bieber taking the mound tomorrow against Nestor Cortez.
I mean, they're going... This is we're in a fun part of the playoffs right now where there are going to be some days off if you take a look at the schedule. So teams, this is going to allow them to really massage who they want starting, right? It's going to give them a little bit of breathing room to shuffle their pitchers into such an order that they, you're going to see guys maybe pitching on short rest now. You're going to see guys like Robbie Ray coming out of the bullpen all of a sudden. You're going to see some cool stuff that we just would not see during the regular season. Again, I do want to really quickly just, if you are going to place some bets on playoff baseball, and why wouldn't you? I found myself thinking yesterday about it because Adam and I love live betting. It's a fun thing to do. I know I get right into it there. And I just found myself thinking, man, I don't know why I didn't think of it. I should have. I always like to put a couple bucks down on a team that's losing at the end of the game there because the payout can be so much. My God, had anyone put down $10 on the Astros in the bottom of the ninth before they got runners on? I bet you the payout was 8-1, 10-1. Like, I didn't take a look, but my goodness. So,
it's something to keep an eye on for the rest of playoffs. Now is the time of year where just like those weird magical things happen. The pressure is so high. Starting pitchers pitching out of the bullpen, you don't know how they're going to respond to it. It really is kind of anything can happen. I know your system is put some on the team to come back, and my system has always been, if the team is up big, put a bunch down and have very modest gains. And I was thinking that after the Blue Jays were up 8-1 to the Mariners, how much money I would have felt if I had any money left that my wife would let me gamble at that point. I sure would have thrown a whole bunch down on that 8-1 lead there.
Well, I almost should have bet on the Mariners just to make sure that they didn't win.
Just to jinx them, eh?
Of course, we do just want to reiterate, never gamble more than you can afford to gamble. It is a slippery slope, so look after your pocketbook first.
Don't chase your losses.
If you are going to gamble, don't be Vladdy Guerrero and hit one off the wall and then try and make up for an error there and get thrown out at second. Yeah. But, Bet Stamp is a great way to figure out which betting site is going to give you the best odds. If you are going to sign up for BetStamp, use the code WALKOFF. Before we close the show up here, but I do really want to quickly touch on Ross Atkins' press conference last night, or I guess in the afternoon, and his lack of commitment to John Schneider, which we talked about on our reaction video yesterday a little bit, how it was kind of odd the way he presented his views on John Schneider, because he didn't even need to bring it up, right? He didn't need to say John Schneider looks like the best choice, but we're not going to commit to him. And it was really interesting reading Shai Davidi, friend of the show's article on this, released this morning on Sportsnet. I'm going to read you what Shai wrote, and I think this really sums up why he's non-committal on John Schneider, despite the fact of showing him some support here. So this is from Shai Davidi. He says, having whiffed on the hiring of Charlie Montoyo, whom it's reasonable to wonder if he ever really meshed, Atkins must get the hiring of the next Blue Jays manager right, which is why he left himself some very notable wiggle room, even after saying, I think it will be very difficult for us to find better than John Schneider. which is something you and I brought up yesterday, kind of stood out because he didn't need to say that. He didn't need to give that support. So I truly think that this organization is going to wind up locking up John Schneider probably for a couple of years, show him some support, and give him the reins to this team. However, they did leave some, like Shai Davidi said, notable wiggle room on this. Shai goes on to say, it worked over 74 games this summer because it had to after Montoyo's firing. But over the long term, are they ready to work together? Do they see eye to eye on enough things, including a balance of control? So who knows? We did see John Schneider making a lot of decisions that Charlie Montoyo didn't. I know that Ross Atkins brought up that they gave John Schneider every opportunity to win right now, but they need to look into the future and see if they can give him every opportunity to win going forward. So this goes back to what Shai was saying. Can they build a trust that never developed between Atkins and Montoyo? Can they avoid the same pitfalls? Which is really interesting to hear that maybe there wasn't that trust and that true alignment between Charlie Montoyo and this front office. Because they sure rolled with Montoyo for a long time for
someone they didn't trust.
And yeah.
Yeah, I wonder.
Gut feeling at him. John's back, right?
Yeah, John's back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like in kind of a not fair way of doing so, they're trying to once again maybe deflect a little bit towards Charlie Montoyo, like someone who's not even here to defend himself.
Yeah.
Like you said, if there was a divide, why did we keep him for 3.5 years, right? Like, I don't know. It just feels like when you break up with a girl and then you're like, yeah, what do I...
Here's another reason why she sucked.
Yeah, she chewed with her mouth open too. You know?
Oh, the heavy breathing.
So much better off without her, right? I don't know. That's just kind of what it feels like with old Montoyo there. It's like, why are we even mentioning that? I don't know. It's weird. It's going to be a weird off season.
It's going to be a really weird offseason, and there are a lot of decisions for this Atkins Shapiro front office to decide on, John Schneider being the big one and the first of many shoes to drop, I'm sure. If you are going to do any betting, we would really appreciate it if you signed up for BetStamp, which is an aggregating site that's going to line up all of the betting sites and give you the best odds. So let's say you normally roll with what Sportsnet hands out there, right? Bet365. Yep. You go on BetStamp and you realize, oh my goodness, CoolBet is going to pay out far more. And that's what's crazy, is that there truly are times when you're like, wow, one site's paying out, especially on those long shot bets. You know, sometimes you'll get 1,500 is the payout. So when you put down 100, you'd make 1,500, and then some sites can be as much as like 2,500, which like $1,000. Like, well, again, if you're going to risk it, yeah, Adam, go ahead and show it off here.
Just as an example, Bet365 has the Cleveland Guardians at plus 2,000 to win the World Series as of today, whereas FanDuel has the Cleveland Guardians at plus 3,400. So if you want to put $100 on the Guardians,
you might as well put it on the site where
you'd be
crazy,
right? If they do win, you'd be kicking yourself. It's you know what it reminds me of, Scott? Remember those old lottery ticket commercials on TV where someone like wins the 649, but they didn't say yes to the extra?
Yeah.
And they're like kicking themselves because they won like 100,000 instead of like 7 million. And they're like, oh no. That's what it would be like, you know, yeah, if you take the Guardians at Bet365 and the Guardians do end up winning, you're gonna be like, oh, I could have had so much more. Take the extra.
By just looking on BetStamp.
There you go.
So if you are going to sign up for BetStamp, it's a very simple process, and please use the code WALKOFF. All right, everybody, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for following along. If you are this deep into the video, well, number one, good for you. Thank you for following along. hit subscribe if you haven't already. It's truly appreciated. We've noticed a big increase in subscriptions to the channel over the last few weeks, so we really do appreciate all of the new viewership and the new listeners. A little tip of the hat to our audio side of things. I know sometimes you all feel like the forgotten member of the family, but we do really appreciate all of you who have gone out there and hit subscribe on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. It's truly appreciated. All the best, everybody. Take care. At Walk Off Podcast on Twitter, the Walk Off Podcast Instagram, and join the Discord. Link is in the show notes. Cheers.